Hey guys, how you going? Welcome to Hold the Ball. I'm here with a very special guest, so I have the honor and privilege of introducing. His name is Ben, and he's actually the coach of the Barracuda, California, the California Rugby League. Sorry. So, look, please introduce yourself, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. It's good to be here. I'm Ben. I'm the head coach of the San Diego Barracudas, the newest team in California Rugby League, all of about a month old, if that. I'm, as you can probably tell, from the UK originally. Originally born and bred in Huddersfield, the birthplace of Rugby League, and kind of born and raised playing rugby league from my family. My dad has been a huge influence in terms of loving the sport. He was chairman of the Supporters Association of Huddersfield and all that kind of thing. Moved out to San Diego, moved out to California this February 1st. And as you do, had a little search online for, is there any rugby league out there? And there wasn't in San Diego, but I did find California Rugby League. So I messaged, the nearest team was in LA, so a couple hours up the coast. Messaged them, said, do you mind if I, can I come down? Are you guys doing practices at the moment? Went up and got shocked by the LA Heat, playing rugby league in the LA Heat for someone who's from Yorkshire. But loved it, a great group of guys. After a couple of months, the 6-hour round trip was starting to get a bit taxing and a bit, not ideal. So I thought, well, let's get a team going in San Diego. Despite promising myself when I came over here, I was just gonna play, maybe train a little bit, not get too involved in anything else with rugby league. But here we are. So yeah, got kind of buy-in from the guys at California Rugby League and LA Mongo especially, amazing at kind of helping us get things off the ground. And we've now got a budding men's team that's been training for 3-4 weeks now. And tomorrow we hopefully launch our women's team.
That's awesome. Just while you're on that, can you elaborate more on the women's team, the Barracuda's women's team? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so it's something that both myself and Adi, who's the coach up at LA Mongrel, are really passionate about. I kind of said when I was talking to Adi and Tom at California Rugby League about setting up the Barracudas, I sort of said, I don't want to, if I'm gonna start a rugby league team, I don't want to start just a men's team. I don't want to start a team. I want to start a club. And I've got a background of coaching. I coached the women's team at the University of Manchester back in the UK, and I just think there's so much opportunity for growth in the women's game in rugby league. I think it's a huge potential area, and we've seen it the last couple of years, the women's state of origin and the World Cup that's coming up at the end of the year and that kind of thing. So we've had a really good response for tomorrow. It's looking pretty promising. So nervous, but excited for it.
And I'm assuming that your players, so the men and women, they come from sort of like various sporting backgrounds. Will that be the case?
Yeah, it's a real diverse background. You get quite a few people who played rugby union over here. A lot of them who had never known that there was two different types of rugby, the opportunity out there to play two different types of rugby.
Of course.
And then you get, a fair few American football players who come across. I think there's a lot of kind of transferable skills and kind of ideas between American football and rugby league, that kind of limited number of tackles, that kind of, which kind of appeals to them, I think. And then just some real good athletes in general. There seems to be, I don't know if it's California or America in general, there's a high number of just quality athletes that have gone through, say, high school, college, that kind of thing, haven't gone into, pro level sport, but are just can pick up a sport in a short amount of time.
No, that's right, and you touch on it as well. I don't think people realize just how athletic and just how much how many athletes there are in America who unfortunately just haven't made that boat to become pro. Like, there's so many around, and it's so good that they're sort of gravitating towards CRL, some of them at least, and I think that'll probably make for a better product overall. And you mentioned as well, just with the background of some players, we'll just go in the gridiron, the American football. Would you say their transition? You said it was easy, but how do they find? Have they spoke to you about their thoughts on the game? You know, rugby league, football. Have they sort of spoke about
that? Yeah, a little bit. We've had a couple of guys. There's a little bit of kind of retraining instincts away from blocking and staying on side and that kind of thing. And I think the best thing is kind of you can send them some YouTube videos, some good highlights of your Jason Tamalolo or someone like that. They get a real good instinct for, okay, this is how I'm still getting to hit people hard, but this is how I need to do it. Or there's similarities in the running route that I would use for this football play versus this rugby play that we're trying to put on. And it's interesting to see how they approach it in a slightly different way to me as someone who's grown up with rugby league for 30 years.
Gotcha. Yep. Would you say that the way, I guess, the Americans in general train, like, in the rugby league context, would you say that the way they train would differ to how you, say, for example, train in the UK? Is it like, not necessarily picking the bad aspects of it, but is there a difference?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's certainly, coming back to that point about just how many good athletes you have in America. I think there's a mindset of let's say if you're doing conditioning or fitness something in a training session, there's a lot more kind of we'll do it, we'll get through it, we're doing this for a reason. We're sort of buying into the wholesale concept of it and that kind of intensity in training, which not that people in the UK don't train hard or don't train intensity, but I think if you're completely new to the sport and that kind of eagerness to just dive into it is great.
So like the honeymoon stage, I think. We're just
exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Look, and I made mention as well in the intro, you are the coach. So being the coach of the Barracuda Rugby League, what do you look for in a player? What are sort of your assessments?
I guess it depends obviously a bit position wise, but I think the first thing, especially when you're coaching people new to the game, is just it's an attitude. You can teach the majority of people skills, catch, pass, that kind of thing, but that desire to go into contact, to take the ball, to look for the hard work, that attitude has got to be there. You can't really teach that desire to get involved in the game. And so that, I think you can build on that and you can build skills. And there's obviously, some people take to different skills easier or quicker or slower, but that initial kind of want to get into the game is something that's difficult to teach.
Yeah. Being in the San Diego area yourself, how has the reception been towards rugby league? How has the general feel been?
It's been good. The majority of the people we've had down, as is my experience in rugby league, if you expose people to the sport, they love it. It's not the rugby league's issue has never been the product. Like that's you expose people to the sport, they love it. It's getting it in front of as many people as possible is the battle, and it's so far so good. We got a long way to go, but it's been a good journey so far. We had a lot of positive reaction from the guys so far. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get the same from the girls, and they can buy into it as well.
Yeah, that's cool. And you guys are the latest addition to CRL. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, it is. I think we're 7 clubs now. I think.
Yep. The new kid on the block, basically.
Yeah.
So speaking of CRL, can you tell us about the owner or the head of CRL?
Yeah, so it's a guy called Tom Stevenson, who's obviously I wasn't around when they first started up back in 2019, which even to me, that it kind of blows my mind a bit how far he's managed to bring CRL in 18 months, and the vast majority of 18 months, 2 years, and the majority of that being in the middle of a global pandemic where there's not really been much opportunity to play or trade or do anything. He's a brilliant at allowing the clubs to succeed, giving them the platform, giving them the space to succeed in their own way. and not kind of dictating, this is how you've got to do this, this is how you've got to do that.
Yeah.
And he's doing a fantastic job at getting the game going. I mean, the growth of the clubs kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, I use Twitter, and some of the people watching and those who will be watching, they use Twitter, and I'm a fan of the way that California Rugby League engages with the fans. I love that. Even the clubs too, a bit of banter here and there, and I think it's so important too for not only, I guess, getting more interest and more followers, but at the same time sort of showing who you guys are. And I think it's so important, and it's so relevant today, especially with social media. It's so relevant to have social media. What are your thoughts on sort of that? And I guess just what are your thoughts on that?
You're right. What's really impressive and really refreshing about California Rugby League is that kind of willingness to embrace new ways of doing things and different ways of doing things, and not kind of slaving to, okay, well, this is how it's been done for 100 years or X years or whatever it might be. We're gonna stream all our games online. We're gonna use online platforms. There's the LA Mongo, not the LA Mongo guys are doing a lot in terms of cryptocurrencies and looking for novel ways of getting funding and sponsorships and all this kind of thing.
Right?
Yeah, it's just real refreshing is definitely the word, just to see the different ways that you can grow the sport and get people engaged with it. It's been great to be involved with.
No, it's awesome, and I love seeing it. Just quickly as well, onto the CRL again. What is the sort of, I guess, direction that I guess you or the CRL are hoping to sort of go towards? What sort of direction is that?
I mean, the best case pie in the sky kind of plan is, it'd be amazing to get a full-blown California Rugby League professional league up and running.
Oh,
that's awesome. a way down the path.
Gotcha.
But I think what has been great, what we're talking to the guys involved, that the commitment is there that if you want to have a professional team or a professional league, if the funding, if the growth is there, you can't take out of the community game to do that.
Yeah.
You can't just say, okay, LA Mongo, you're now a professional team.
That's right.
There's now no community club in LA. You've got to have both. You've got to start putting that infrastructure in.
Grassroots.
You need the top end for people to aspire to, but you need that community game. You need. I'd love to start going into local schools and things like that, and start building that grassroots stuff, so that it's not just, you're not relying, so that in 10, 15 years, you're not just getting union converts or football players, American football players coming across. You're getting kids that have played rugby league in school through high school.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. If you're getting homegrown American guys and girls who played rugby league since they were 6, 7, 8 years old, that'd be amazing. I think that for me would be, having a professional game watched by thousands of people would be awesome, and is kind of the pinnacle. But for me, I'd be most proud of if we can get that real infrastructure in place.
Well, I think to be honest, the infrastructure is how you get those people watching.
Yeah.
So what you're saying goes hand in hand. Look, I'm noticing you're wearing a California Rugby League top there. Look, I actually brought some California Rugby League gear myself, waiting on it to arrive. Can't wait. But obviously Barracudas have some stuff as well. Look, I guess just tell me why, for those who are probably watching California Rugby League, or those who don't yet have a team, tell me why they should follow your team.
Why should they follow it? Well, I mean, for a start, California Rugby League is the new kid on the block in rugby league.
Yep,
San Diego Barracudas are the new kid on the block in California Rugby League.
Yeah.
We've got a brilliant blend of, we got a couple of guys who play rugby league. We've got one guy on our team who's played international rugby league for Jamaica. We've got a couple of, good level American rugby union players. I think San Diego is a beautiful city with a great kind of diverse mix of people, and that's what we're getting in the Barracudas as well. And I want to coach a team that plays good rugby. I'm not I'm not coaching a team that's going to take 5 drives and a kick all day. We're looking to play heads-up rugby. We're looking to play exciting rugby, and we're looking to win.
Yeah, awesome. Well, hey, you've heard it, guys. That's why you should follow Barracuda's Rugby League, the new kid on the block. Look, it wouldn't be a Kiwi and English broadcast without mentioning the Rugby League World Cup. Look, it's around the corner. I know it's been hectic with obviously Super League, and things are happening in the Rugby League, especially with you guys as well. But if we sort of take a moment to pause, we realize he's actually, I guess in my opinion anyway, the pinnacle of rugby leagues around the corner. So what are your thoughts on it? And you mentioned Jamaica as well, and they make their debut, which is exciting to see. What are your thoughts on the World Cup, and what is your prediction at the end?
I'm really I'm equal parts excited and also really sad that I've left the country just a few months before the World Cup happened.
Yeah.
What's been really amazing is seeing they seem to be doing a really good job at promoting the tournament, and they've got all 3, the men's, the women's, the wheelchair tournaments happening alongside each other and running at the same time, and it's looking like it's going to be an awesome tournament. Yeah, you said you've got Jamaica in the men's team. I think you've got Brazil in the women's World Cup.
Yeah,
and
right. Yes, yeah.
Spain, I think, and there's been a real sense the last 4 or 5 years of international rugby league starting to get a bit of momentum. We saw Tonga at the last World Cup. We've seen these kind of emerging nations starting to, we're not 20, 30 years ago when the Rugby League World Cup was Australia, England, Great Britain, New Zealand, maybe France. We've got some genuine good Rugby League international teams, which is brilliant. Predictions? I mean, I'd love to predict an England clean sweep of all 3 tournaments. I'm going to be fairly non-risky and say an Australia-England final in the men's tournament.
Yeah.
I can't see past Australia winning.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Yep.
As boring a prediction as that might be in a Rugby League World Cup, I think it's probably England's best shout in a while. We've got some good quality in the halfbacks. George Williams, who's just come back to the UK, and Gareth Widdop and people like that. We've got Johnny Lomax at Saints. We've actually got some good halfbacks, which has not always been the case for England and Great Britain. So I think we've got a chance. I'm gonna say it's. No, why not? I'll change my mind. Let's say England. I've talked myself into saying England.
Yeah. Look, I thought I'll let you talk, and I thought you'd get there at the end. So, and just quickly on England's squad, I'm not sure. There's a player who plays for the Broncos, Herbie Farnworth. Do you know much about him?
So
I think he'll make the squad. That's what I think.
I'm intrigued. I think it might be a year too soon for him, and he seems to have had a bit of a falling out earlier in the year with Sean Wayne. But who knows? Actually, a friend of mine I played with a couple of years ago who used to play with him at junior level, and he obviously rates him, says he's going to be something pretty special, and he looks it. Whether this year might be a year or two too early for him, I don't know. But yeah, he's an exciting player.
Yeah. Look, you touched on it before as well, talking about the Rugby League World Cup. And I think this one here is probably the most, I guess, to a degree, the most unknown sort of World Cup in regards to who may win, because it is actually, I think now, probably the most open it's been since it's ever been started. It's no longer the typical Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain headliner. You've now got other nations, and I guess the nations like Greece, Jamaica, they will only just learn from this and get better. You know what I mean? So, look, for example, there's a player who plays for the Knights in the NRL, Dominic Young, who will be, I guess, he's in the NRL, in the Jamaican squad. Yeah,
he came through the Huddersfield Academy.
That's right, he did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I'm keeping tabs on him, and I love the way he plays. And he's only young too, so obviously there's more growth there, and it's awesome too for the game in general. But yeah, hey, look, I appreciate the prediction there. That's good. My prediction, personally, just quickly, I think anyone but Australia, so hopefully New Zealand. So, yes. Look, thanks for that. I
mean, it'd be great to have a final without Australia in. That would be, whether it's New Zealand, England, Tonga, someone else. It'd be great to have a final without Australia for once.
Yeah, well, hey, I agree. But look, anything can happen here, and I actually firmly believe that anything can happen. So we'll see that. I guess I'm just going to bring this to a close. But look, is there any sort of last words you want to say to those who are watching and will be watching as well after this is done being live? What are sort of like the general thoughts of why people should follow the CRL and just sort of, keep an eye and a tab on what's developing there?
Yeah, for anyone who's ever seen any kind of rugby league, everyone knows it's the best sport going around. Like the fastest, the highest, the most skillful game there is going. And
absolutely,
what's amazing in CRL is you've got a real good mix of some exciting athletes new to the game. It's raw, it's powerful, it's intense. There's some budding rivalries. You've got the kind of North Cal teams, the San Fran and Sacramento and East Palo Alto. You've got this kind of SoCal group starting to emerge now with LA and San Diego. You can see us on July 10th recording our first win over the Mongol, first of many. And I think it's just like we were saying before, it is the exciting way that CRL is going about things and the different ways and I don't think you'll find a rugby league organization in the world that's more engaged with its players, the fans, its community. It's everything that makes rugby league special.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I guess you mentioned the video of your game's coming up. So is that is that California Rugby League?
Hopefully, yeah. I think we're still ironing out the details.
The YouTube channel? Yep.
Yes, yeah. Yep. It is, yes.
So just letting you guys know, I've actually watched a few of their stuff. It is everything that Ben has said. It's brutal, it's savage, it is actually pretty rough and tumble. I mean, honestly, I don't think it matters what sort of elite level you are as a player. If you go there, you're gonna definitely be feeling some bruises. So get in there, watch a lot of big boys, man, and they are not scared to get into it. Oh man, that's crazy stuff. And I definitely like what I'm seeing, and I think it's great. And I guess for yourself, Ben, one more sort of thing. Any last words to your competition, your enemy, so to speak, in the CRL? The different teams are watching. Any last words?
I think the main focus for at the moment is the LA Mongol. That's going to be our first couple of games up against our noisy neighbours up just a couple hours up the coast. They've got a little bit more experience than us. They've been training for a little bit longer, but won't matter. We've got a killer team coming up, and we're going to send them back with their tails between their legs back up to LA.
All right. That sounds good. Well, look, guys, that's a wrap. Thank you very much for watching. Ben, thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you for showcasing not only yourself, but your team and CRL. Guys, if you're watching and those who are watching later on, please buy the merch. Go into the California Rugby League. Follow them on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram as well. The engagement from all the teams and the CRL is great. It's healthy. It's fun. A little banter there. But don't forget to buy the merch, support the teams, and I support the CRL. And again, thank you, Ben. But guys, thank you. And guys, take it easy and don't forget to hold the ball. See you guys later.